and I ended up folding. And he tells me that he had queens. And I said, no way, no you didn't. Because I had queens. Then I asked him if they were red or black, and what's up, guys? We're here, second day at the Hard Rock. Jumped in the 8 game, did not go well. $600 8 game. We got in there too late was the problem. Couldn't really get a grasp on our table, and the limits were already kind of up there. It's a 1 day, so it's kind of shallow and it goes fairly quickly. So we got in there too late, and then we had reads on the players. There was an old guy 2 to my left, was raising a lot, and I just kept giving him credit for it when he was kind of more of a splashy player than a solid player. So we busted that pretty quickly. We didn't even get through a rotation of games. We're in the no limit now. We're doing well in the no limit so far. The blinds were already 4,800 when we got in. First hand, we have ace-jack offsuit. First hand was the only really significant one. We're on it's the second break now. We raise under the gun ace-jack to 1,600. Small blind calls, big blind calls. Flops king-jack, 3, rainbow. Checks around. Turn is a 7. Small blind checks, big blind bets 2,200. I call with the pair of jacks, and the small blind folds. River's a jack, so we make trips. He checks, we bet 5,500. He 10 calls. So chipped up nice there. We're at 31,000, coming back to 500,000, so 31 bigs. All right, we'll get back to you in a little bit. We're at the no limit flight. It's card dead for a while. Well, coming back, we had 30 bigs. Blinded down a little bit, and then we raised ace jack suited at 6,1200 early position. Small blind jams on us. Guy was fairly tight. I think we made the right fold. One hand we defend the big blind with jack 10 offsuit. Flop open-ended, queen 9 3 flop, 2 diamonds, 1 heart. Turn is the king of hearts. So we make the nuts, we check. Original razor checks, and hijack bets 4,500. I think the blinds are 6,1200. No, the blinds at this point were 500, 1,000. He bets 4,500. We jam for 20K, maybe 20, about 20K. He snaps. He has the same hand, no redraws, so we chop. Not too long after. Well, at this point, lines were 6-12. I open +1, ace queen of diamonds. Next to act, older guy, just flats, big blind. Young guy in a short stack calls. He has like less than 10K. He might have 10K after the call. Flop is king high with 2 diamonds. It's king 5-3, 2 diamonds. I think king of diamonds, 5 of diamonds. Big blind, young guy rips. We obviously go all in with the nut flush draw, and the old guy snaps. He has 2 black aces. He trapped pre, and then the big blind has open ended with 4-6. Turn is a 2, river, brick, like jack of clubs. So the 4-6 guy makes the straight, wins the main, and then the old guy takes me out with the aces against the ace queen. So we're out. We flight at 5 p.m., which is in like an hour. So just gonna chill till then, buy in a little bit. So there's 2 more flights tomorrow, but ideally like to bag tonight, so we don't have to be, maybe we could just take tomorrow off and just chill. supposed to be nice. It's been rainy up until now, the past 2 days, so I'd like to have just like a chill pool day would be cool. So hopefully we could run up a big stack, but yeah, so we'll jump in there and we will update you on the first break. Before you wondering about the glasses, these are not reading glasses or anything like that. They're just for blue light. I've always had like issues with sleeping. Sometimes I go through periods where I sleep really well and other times not so much. And the blue light glasses are, pretty good. I guess I'm always like watching, TV or on my phone at night. And they say these things do the trick with the with blue light. So yeah, they've been helping me sleep. I've been wearing them for like using them for the past month, and they've been helping out. I actually haven't been sleeping that great since I've gotten to Florida, unfortunately. Pretty tired today. We are out of the tournament. Yeah, we got up to like 75, 80K was our peak. And then it was a good table. Like, it wasn't the toughest table in the world, but it wasn't the easiest table, I'll say. There were some very good players. A lot of them were to my right, which was good. All right, the first significant hand happened pretty quickly. The blinds are 100, 100 with a 100 ante. I have black jacks on the button. Middle position limps. Hijack makes it 300. Cutoff raises to 800. I 4-bet to 2,000 on the button. I started the hand, I probably had chipped down a little bit. I think I started with around 18 or 19K to start the hand. And everyone else folds, and the cutoff, who made it 800, calls. Flop is 9, 9, 10 is the flop. He makes a weird play and leads here. He leads for 3K. So he's pretty much capping himself. He never has a nutted hand here when he does this. Like, he never has 10s full. He never leads 10s full ever. Never leads quad 9s, which would be insane. I mean, I guess you can mix in some leads with some nutted hands, but most of the time you're going to be checking. I am a little worried about him trapping with like aces or kings. Queens is definitely possible. But it just seems like a weird line. Like, why wouldn't he let me, if he has aces or kings, why is he worried? Like, why wouldn't he let me bet, So just pretty, like, alarm bells are going off. That's just like a weird line pretty quickly in the hand. Turn is a 3 of hearts. He continues for 5K. And I jam. I think I jammed I have him covered. I jam, and he calls. Turn was the 3 of hearts. Yeah, like I said, it was the 3 of hearts that brought 2 hearts. And he has ace king, and he bricks the river. And I'm pretty quickly up to 35,000 from the 20K starting. I had chipped down a little bit. This kind of goofy hand came up where I had king 9 of hearts and flopped a king with a flush draw, bricked the flush draw, and the guy sixes ended up pairing on the board, and the guy had king 6 for a full house, but I didn't lose much. I block bet the river, and he raised big, and I folded, and he showed me the boat. Then this hand comes up, kind of a cool hand at 300, 500. I have 10, 7 of clubs in the big blind. The under the gun player made it 1,200, and he's a new player to the table, so he pretty much has a fresh stack, maybe a little under 20. We go 5 ways to the flop. Flop is 7, 6, 3, 1 club. I have 10, 7 of clubs. So pretty big range advantage for me here. I have everything. I have all the straights. I have all the 2 pairs. I have all the sets. So I can kind of go crazy on this flop if I want. Under the gun player bets 1,700. Everyone else folds. I just call. Turns the 5 of clubs, so good card for me. I turn the flush draw, and card hits my range pretty hard. I think I need to start, I think I need to lead here. So putting his over pairs in a tough spot here, because he's going to find a lot of checkbacks, I think, on the turn. I don't think he's ever betting this card with an overpair. So I find the lead, I bet 3,500. River's an interesting card. It's the ace of diamonds. I don't think he has any aces here in his range. I mean, no, very few. Unless he barreled the flop and then picked up like a flush draw with like an ace something of clubs. He doesn't have too many aces. So I'm heavily weighing him like in the range of like pocket nines to pocket kings. So I obviously can't beat that hand with a pair of sevens, so I think an all-in is the right play. I jam. He folds pretty quick, like within like 10 seconds or so. So we pick up a nice pot, and we're up to, I think we're up to like 42K after this hand. There was a good Asian kid, two to my left. The one hand I flop trip nines was rough. I actually almost 3-bet pre, and he would have been out then. Ace nine of spades in the small, and guy raised, min clicked off like 20 bigs, and he was pretty tight. Like he was limping a lot, and I just didn't want the next act call, the hijack raise, cutoff call, and the cutoff raise, button call, and I called in the small blind with ace nine of spades. I flopped trips, 8-9-9 flop, 2 hearts. Checks around, unfortunately. I was ready to, check raise whoever was betting the flop. Pretty draw heavy flop. That kind of connects well with people. Turn wasn't great. Turns the queen of hearts. And then I lead. And then this the big blind calls, the Asian kid. And the other two fold. I think I bet 2,700. The raise was 1,600 pre, so maybe like 1/3 pot or a little less. And then the river is the 8, right? Yeah, 8. River's the 8 of just an 8. Yeah. So it completes the straight. The board is 8-9-10, 8-9-9-10 queen with a flush out too. So I'm not beating too much, just a stone cold bluff. And the guy hadn't shown any bluffs up until this point, and the guy next to me played with him all the time. He said he never bluffs, so I'm sure he bluffs sometimes, but it just didn't feel like it was bluffing here. But I was trying to figure out like what bluffs he had. Some one heart combos, I just couldn't figure out which. It's like the jack of hearts makes a straight. I don't know. It was weird. I mean, there are some bluffs, I'm sure. I'm sure like king of hearts, just like a naked king of hearts you could have had, something like that, and turned it into a bluff. But, a good player would. But I'm not, he was good, but he really never showed any bluffs. So that hand happened, and then it wasn't that big of a pot, and then it kind of tilted me. And the next hand I played poorly, and it was like it was literally the next hand. Early position guy, he's pretty solid. He had shown a couple bluffs down. Good player, middle-aged, around my age probably. He raises early position. I just call with 10s. I had 2 red 10s on the button. 10s seemed to get me in trouble, and they got me in trouble in this hand. I think if I 3-bet, I would have lost less, because he might have 4-bet me, and I probably would have gotten away pre. So he raises. The blinds at this point were, it was right after that hand. So he probably I think he made it 2K. I called on the button. Flop is 9 high with 2 diamonds. So it's good flop for 10s, obviously. He bets like 35, something like that. He sized up. It was a chunky bet. It was like 32 maybe. He bets 32. I obviously call. Turn is a queen of hearts. Not the greatest card, so like hands like ace queen of diamonds get there. He continues for 55. At this point, I'm not liking it. I had the 10 of hearts with the 10 of spades in my hand. So I don't have the 10 of diamonds in my hand, which is a key card. I obviously want him to have that card. So that probably made me call. If I had the 10 of diamonds, I'd probably just fold on the turn, I think. Because Because he could be barreling hands like ace-10 of diamonds, stuff like that. Ace-king of diamonds, or just even like a naked ace-king, I think. You know, good players would be making those. And I thought he was a pretty good player. So if it was like just like a regular like old man coffee type, I would have folded like on the turn easily. The river paired the 2, so the river is a total brick. He bets 8,500, which is so value-y. It was like less than half pot. It's like never a bluff. Like if he's bluffing, he goes like 12, 13, 14, something like that, I think. And I thought it over for about 30 seconds, and I just like I said, I was tilted from the previous hand, and I called. It was just a bad call, and he had 2 red aces. So this hand basically brought me from like comfortable 70K to like shortish, like 40K. Whereas like, I think I lost like 20K in a hand. So I probably went from 60 to 40, or say 62 to 42. So that kind of got me in like a little bit of the danger zone. But I got to shove through with ace king. Guy folded 10s. The guy folded 10s to me twice, and I had ace king both times. But he was kind of in tough spots both times where it was like raised and re-raised. And he just didn't want to flip for most of his chips. And I get that. But so then this hand comes up. The guy, this is like the hand of the tournament, pretty much. It's a weird hand. Not weird, but annoying. Under the gun opens. The blinds are, this guy was pretty tight, nice guy. He's on my right. Under the gun opens to, blinds are 8-16, he opens to 3,500. I'm next to act with queens. I'm drawing a blank whether I had 2 red queens or a red and a black queen. That'll be relevant in a little bit. So I click it to, I raised to 10K. I 3-bet to 10K. It was a little big, I guess, based on my stack size. I probably started the hand with 30 bigs, probably. I think like a little under 50 or somewhere, 45K maybe. So a little under 30 bigs. It folds back around to him after I make a 10K. He thinks about it. Then he takes the chips back that he had in, which was, I thought, weird. I was like, really weird. Because if he was just going to go all in, he would just say all in. Because we had a very similar stack. I think I had him covered by a little bit. He he clicks it to 25K. And I'm like, this is really weird. Like, it's just like a slam dunk all in, I think, after I make a 10K with pretty much any hand, except aces or kings, I think. Aces or kings, you want action. And he just made this small re-raise, and I'm like, he never does this with jacks. Jacks, he's all in. Ace king, he's all in. I think he had actually folded ace king to a, no, before the tight Asian guy 3-bet him, and he just flatted with ace king. So I said, I ruled ace king out. So he didn't 3-bet jam that off of like 25 bigs earlier. And he clicks it back, and I'm like, this is screaming. So I say to the guy, I said to him, show me if I fold. And the dealer, it was like one of the few dealers in the house that like enforces the you can't talk rule. And I said to her, you're one of the few people in here that enforces that rule. And I respect that. But so I thought it over for about a minute, and I ended up folding. And he tells me that he had queens. And I said, no way, no you didn't. Because I had queens. Then I asked him if they were red or black, and I knew the second he started like stuttering and he wasn't sure what to say, because he knew I would know he was lying based on what he said. And I thought I had red queens, but I'm not 100%. And he said I had 1 red, 1 black, which was the safe route probably to go. But then the table ends up breaking about 10 minutes later. And he said, I was lying to you. I actually had aces. And I was like, oh, thank God. And I'm like, the queen high flop was coming. But Yeah, it's a big laydown. I've laid down queens a couple times in a tournament, probably. I would say a handful, no more than 5, probably pre-flop. Kings, I think I've laid down kings once pre. So queens is tough, but kings is obviously tougher. Kings, I don't know. I don't think I was getting away with kings, getting away from the hand. So we moved to a new table, and it's like right before break. So we played 2 hands, went on break. And I start talking to this guy. He was one to my right. Nice guy. He was an Army vet. And he starts telling me, he says, yeah, this guy, like, he was riding me at the other end of the table, blah, blah, blah. He tells me about a few hands. And he said the guy said to him, and he said this guy was opening real late. He thought he was a big shot. He thought he was like a big shot player. And he, like, criticized his play on one hand. And then he said something to him like, 10 times the better of a player than you ever will be, something like that. So the guy they had like a whole history. And this had happened like an hour before I got there, probably. So there was I almost regret talking to this guy. He was a really nice guy, but I feel like it influenced my action a little bit, but it was the right play. But, so we get back, and I think second hand down, I had ace, king, ace of clubs, king of diamonds. Flop, I min click it. I have 20 bigs at this point, and I min click to, God, this is going long. I am min click to 4K. The blinds are 1-2,000 from middle position. Next stack calls, big blind calls. Flop is all spades. Not a good flop. I think it was queen high. Checks around. Turn, another spade. Checks around. River, king. So I make a pair of kings. Checks to the last position guy after me, and he bets 5K. I'm like, ugh, this is like value town. I think it was a jack high flop. So I was like, yeah, he's got like a 10 of spades, a queen of spades, something like that. I folded. I mean, he could have been bluffing, but it's just like I could have repped the ace, but I thought about it afterwards, and I'm like, calling was not the right play. Turning into a bluff was. But the way I played the hand just seemed so weak. I don't think I would ever check the ace of spades 3 times. Once in a while, if I thought someone was like super aggressive on my left. But I folded, and then got to my big blind, and the Army guy that I was telling you about is one to my right, so he's on my right. Folds around to a woman on the button. She has like 50K to start, and she raises to 4,500. The guy clicks it, 3 bets to 15K. He's got like 100K. He's got a nice stack, maybe more, 120. He clicks it to 15, and then I have king, queen of hearts in the big. So if it's just her raising and he folds, I have to jam this hand with 20 bigs. Button against big. He clicks it, I side fold. She jams for 50, so it's 35 more for him to call. And he calls a queen 5 of diamonds. He 3-bet with queen 5 diamonds. I don't know if that's in the charts, but I don't know if that's a good play, especially against. She had just got to the table, so there was like no history there. She got there after I did. So she calls with ace, queen of spades, and makes the nut flush. I would have turned a royal draw, 10 jack of hearts on the board, and bricked. So that would have been rough bust. Very next hand, the guy from earlier that had the history with the Army guy to my right opens. So I'm just looking for a spot, because this guy had opened 10-8 offsuit from the hijack, just like really late. I'm looking for a spot to jam over him and maybe have another caller, which is what happened. The Army guy flats on the button. From he opens. Douchey guy. The mean guy, I guess, opens from middle position to 5. It was either 4,500 or 5K. So big one was still 2K. Button flats the Army guy. And I knew he was tilted, so I'm like, he's late here with this flat. He's never flatting big. especially against this guy he has history with. He's going to 3-bet him if he has anything decent. He just flats, and I have 2 4s in the small blind. All in. First stack, snap folds, and then the Army guy goes with a speech, and he says, you know I'm tilted. I don't really like folding. So at that point, I knew I was screwed. He calls the ace-5 of diamonds, and I'm like, ugh, how does he call? It's like half of his stack. It was 36K, so I had 18 bigs. He probably had maybe 75, 80K to start the hand. So it was a lot of his stack. And maybe 70. It was like half his stack. Probably. He calls with ace-5 of diamonds, which he could be really easily dominated. And he's lucky, really lucky that it's a flip. He flops 2 diamonds and rivers the flush. Oh, and it gets better. The very next, right after this, the table breaks. Like, really? You couldn't break it like a hand ago? So it was a very frustrating. I thought I played my A game today. I really didn't make a lot of mistakes. I think the only mistake was the 10s hand. I should have got away. And the a couple spots where I could have probably squeezed using my image. I really didn't. I squeezed ace-8 of clubs. Not squeezed. I 3-bet ace-8 of clubs on the button and flopped the freaking flush. I not flopped the flush. I turned the nut flush. The woman in the big had a jacks. It was a king-high flop, so she got scared by the turn and folded the jacks. I was hoping she had a king. King with a club. I probably would have got paid full. Maybe. I don't know. She folded jacks. I probably should have thought that when she cold calls a 3-bet, and she has a lot of lean towards a lot of like decent pocket pairs. I block ace king with the ace-8, but I could have played that one. I mean, I could have played that one a little more tricky, like check the turn. But I don't think she's paying much on the river with a king high on the board, king on the board when she has jacks. So unless she like specifically hits like a set on the river. But yeah, I'm happy with my play, so I can't be too upset about not making day 2 yet. I thought I played better today than I did the first day, although today I felt a little more tired, which is weird. I just thought it was like more locked in today. The 8 game was horrible, but this was good. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to edit this down. This is a freaking long rant, Rob's rant. But yeah, we played well. Hopefully, the plan tomorrow is to chill a little bit. There's the morning flight. We're not going to play the morning flight. We're just going to chill. It's supposed to be nice. Go to the pool, eat some lunch, maybe get a workout in, and then we'll get there for the night flight. We will play the night flight right from the start, and then be willing to fire at least one more bullet, possibly 2. I don't really want to be in for 2,400 in one tournament, but it could happen. We shall see. All right, guys. It's been long enough. It's been long. I'm tired and delirious, and I'm ranting. I think it's 2 a.m. here or later. So we will catch up with you next time. Thanks for watching, guys.